Skull, and welcome back to Valkyrie's Art Corner. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notification of my new videos. Today we're going to be working on Pickle Rick. He is the pickle form of Rick Sanchez from the TV show Rick and Morty. So what we're going to do is start off with a black background, and I decided to use my Galleria acrylic ivory black. It's technically considered an intermediate type paint, and it's not as thick as the Liquitex, which is the professional grade paint. And then we're just going to color in the entire background black. And what I'll end up doing is adding in at least a couple layers of black just to kind of cover up all the white spots. So while I'm busy doing that, so back to Rick Sanchez. He's from the TV show Rick and Morty. It tends to be a PG-13 show, unless you see the uncensored version somewhere else. He is a mad scientist that can jump from dimension to dimension, taking around his grandson, Morty, who is very skittish. Needless to say, he's always complaining, but Rick, he's an alcoholic that loves to just jump around, even if the experiment goes wrong. And in one of the episodes, he actually turned himself into a pickle because he wanted to avoid going to a family counseling session with a counselor. And that episode, it kind of backfired on him. I'm not going to go into details of like the complete episode, but just to give you a background as to what that episode was. So now I'm just kind of rambling. So as you can tell, we're just finishing up on this black background. And with the other paints, as you can tell in my other videos when I use Liquitex, it didn't take me as long to fill in the background. But I left this one not time-lapsed or anything like that, just so you could see the quality of the different paint that I used. And plus, with the craft stores and stuff being closed down, I don't want to use my Liquitex because it's more expensive, and so I have to use what I've got because it's a really long time to order on Amazon. So yeah, so if you're on lockdown with a lack of crafting supplies, just use what you can. You don't have to go fancy schmancy or do exactly what I'm doing. You can make it any color background that you want as long as it's not green and it matches the pickle. So, and also with this one, I'm having to use a lot more of the paint, but it stretches a little bit longer, so yeah, I'm just going to finish up here. I had to rinse my brush off because it was starting to gunk up a little bit. Get right back into it, just do all across the canvas. Now with this type of paint, with the Galleria paint, again, like I said, it's an intermediate type paint, so it's going to be not as thick. You'll want to cover it at least once or twice more, and if you do try to go back over it with more paint, as you see I'm trying to do, I actually struggle with getting it completely covered up. So yeah, I'm going to end this first part of the video, let it dry, and we are back. And now it's completely dry. Off camera, I actually added on 2 more layers of paint, so you didn't have to literally just sit there and watch paint dry the entire time. And what you're going to do is draw an oblong shape into the black, and then you'll want to take a green color of your choice. If you don't have the exact green, that's fine. Pickles are different colors. And what you'll do is just color in the shape of the oblong until it starts to take the shape of a pickle. And then you'll just continue on painting like this. And on this portion of the video, I actually sped up because it would take me a bit because I'm just having to layer and layer and layer and layer. So I mixed in just a wee bit of black to kind of get that shadowy outline. And we want to kind of leave the middle the same color as the original one. So I'm just building and blending on top to kind of get this off grayish green color. And while it's wet, you can't really tell. And then here in the middle of the I did a little bit more white. And then while it's wet, it's kind of hard to tell the colors, but when it dries up, it really darkens up. So I added in more black than green in this part right here to make his little pickle spots. And then I'm kind of touching up the outsides of the pickle because I kind of went out of line a little bit. So I'm just touching that up. And now that that's all dry, I'm going to draw the circles for the eyes. And I was having a little bit of trouble here because I didn't realize that the paint was still a little sticky because it felt dry to the touch. And then we're going to draw a partial U for the nose, and then a upside down U for the eyebrow since he has a monobrow, and then kind of a bean shape for his mouth. And then we're going to put half C's on the outside, and then little bumps in his mouth for his teeth, and then a little worm shape right here for his tongue. And now we're going to take some white and color in those circles we just drew. With the white, you might have to layer it a couple times because I know I had a little bit of trouble with green still showing through. Then we're going to rinse it off, and then we're going to color in the inside of his mouth. I know we're covering up what we just drew, but I left kind of indents in there to where I can actually see where everything was. And then I'm going to do some teal mixed in with a little bit of white to get that light tone eyebrow, because his hair is like this really pale blue teal color. So I had to let that dry, and now I'm just putting in the little spots where I actually traced on the inside of his mouth for the teeth, and then doing the same on the bottom. They're just little dots. And then I got some red for his tongue. Now the way you want to paint it in, it kind of looks like a worm. And then I took my marker. This one started not to work, so I switched out for my bigger one and outlined the pickle to kind of solidify the edges or make them solid and not so sketchy. And also that way I can adjust the size. And then we're going to draw on his nose and then trace the outline of his eyes. Outline his unibrow. Put the dots on the insides for the eyes. Trace the curves and the under marks for his eyes. And then what I'm going to write here is in the picture that I referenced it from, it actually had the words "I'm Pickle Rick" on it. So that's what I'm going to do here because I thought it looked cool like that. So yeah, just write "I'm Pickle Rick." And I'm doing my best to kind of mimic the font that they use. So, and alright, and I let this dry a little bit afterward, and here's the final product. If you like this, comment below, and then have a good day.